Welcome back to Fox 2 Detroit Live. I'm your host, Ronya Shimona. Time to talk about back to school. It may have started as a wholesome family tradition to share the beautiful photos online of our children going back to school. The chalkboard with all the information about our child and their age and their teacher and all the exciting things they're looking forward to, all those personal details that we share online. No, that might not be a good thing. Police agencies around the country are warning parents to be careful, including this sheriff deputy who's sharing a little bit of a comical photo here of herself, but just kind of proving to people why you might want to think twice before posting these kind of pictures online, because there are things in particular, whether it's the photos or the information, that could end up in places you don't want them to. So here to help parents navigate and really understand these responsible tasks and what we should be doing is responsible technology expert Nuala O'Connor, joining us live. Hi, Nuala. It's so good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So back to school photos, it's very common. A lot of parents post a lot of these. What information should parents really think twice about sharing online?
Well, I'm guilty, as everybody else is, of sharing photos with my children and about where they go to school. So I am guilty as charged, as many of us are. But you really want to first be careful about your own privacy settings. If you have set your Facebook account, your Instagram account, your other social media applications to private, obviously you've decreased the risk tremendously. So that's your first step. The second one is, depending on the age of the child, you want to give less and less information about their personal likes. You don't want some stranger to be able to go up to them and say, "Hey, Johnny, I know you really are into this baseball team, at the mall or whatever." And for high school, junior high and high school students, frankly, you should be asking their input and their permission. It's a thing we do in our house. I always check before I post anything whether the child is comfortable with the image and comfortable with it being out there, even to my friends.
Yeah, and sometimes people might say, "Oh, well, I'm being a little vague, and it's not that much
Mhm.
information," but the child is standing on the exterior of their home, which is another uh, privacy
Mhm.
concern, because for anyone, I mean, they could pretty much look you up and see where you live.
Absolutely right. You want to be very careful to not have street names, to not have street addresses. My kids know from a very, very young age, no names, no addresses, no phone numbers, no personally identifiable information that can be used to find them in the real world. So I think it's okay to be a little bit vague. It's okay to say, "Hey, Amy's starting second grade. We're really excited." We don't need the school's name. We don't need, their personal likes. We don't need their teacher's name. And just a little more vagueness is probably a good thing. But again, if your privacy settings are set correctly, the risk is definitely lower.
Also, Nuala, I want to talk about privacy settings in general, not just on these photos. What should parents check frequently on social media before the school year gets underway for all their kids, regardless of age?
I think the three things parents are most worried about are what your child is seeing, what they are posting, and who they are coming into contact with. So you want to look at any of the settings that will affect that. First of all, are their chat capabilities set to private? Meaning, can strangers contact them? And you want to look at platforms like Discord and the gaming platforms, as well as social media sites, because that's where a lot of chat is happening. I'm okay with my kids chatting to their friends while the game is happening. I don't want some random adult trying to contact my kids without my knowledge. Second of all, you want to make sure that you've got the appropriate settings, parental controls, if you've got younger children, about sensitive information, controversial information, things that you may or may not want them to see depending on their age. That obviously gets looser as their judgment gets tighter as they get older, and you want to give them a little more freedom. Younger kids, you can even keep their passwords and make sure that you can spot check their accounts whenever you want. That can be a cost of kind of the deal of having the phone or having the ability to get online.
Also, how can parents talk to their kids about online safety, what they should and should not be doing, and even generally speaking? Uh, I'll give you a great example. My daughter always says, "But mom, so and so has that app. Why can't I have it?" How do we spark
That
this
is
conversation?
Yeah, an age-old complaint from every child, "But my friend has this, why can't I?"
Yep.
And, my flippant response is, We just don't do everything that everybody else does. Well, this is what works for our family. But I think you asked the incredibly important question about how do you kind of co-create or conversations about what the risks are of being online. Not only your personal risk of who can contact you, but the addictive quality, the addictive nature of many of these apps that are really designed and programmed to keep kids online, even when they should be doing their homework or just getting outside and having fun. And so the conversation is really an intelligent one between the kid and the parent to say, listen, this is how these things work. We don't want you to spend your entire life online. We think there should be reasonable boundaries, whether it's time and place, how long each day, no phones at the dinner table, no phones in the rooms after bedtime, or if it's the amount of time and place, you just don't do it on weekends or you just don't do it for a certain number of hours on a Sunday. You have the right to set the rules for your own household.
Nuala, also AI is becoming a bigger part of our kids' lives and really our lives as well. What should parents know about AI chatbots or anything really AI related and sharing any information?
Think it's important to realize that AI is here to stay. It is just the latest version of a huge technology revolution. And I think we want our kids to be educated about how these tools work and know how to use them responsibly. So what that means is helping your child get on and using it for fun purposes. We've planned, where to go to dinner or asked a fun question about a certain country we were visiting on vacation, but you can't use it to write your term paper. And so they need to understand the difference between doing research that's responsible research, just like you would use a search engine or books in the library, versus cutting and pasting an entire paragraph or section of something that has been generated by a chatbot. That's just good old-fashioned plagiarism. The same rules apply, and we just need to apply them to this new technology.
Nuala, thank you so much for your expertise in all things technology and safety. We appreciate your time. How can people find you and follow you?
I've got a website, nualaoconnor.net, and I encourage you to look at all the resources that your state school boards and kids advocates have online.
We'll put all this information on our website too at fox2detroit.com. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.